For thousands of years, one name has echoed through history, a whisper of a golden age lost to the sea. Atlantis. Was it a real place? A shining beacon of civilization swallowed by the ocean, or just a story? Today, we're diving deep, separating fact from fiction, to uncover the truth behind the greatest legend of them all. This isn't just an old story. The idea of Atlantis touches on our deepest questions about history, human potential, and what happens when a society becomes too proud. It's a search that has captivated explorers, historians, and dreamers for centuries. So, why are we still so obsessed with it? Let's start at the source. Almost everything we think we know about Atlantis comes from one man, the ancient Greek philosopher, Plato. Around 360 BC, he wrote two dialogues, the Timaeus and the Critias. In these texts, he describes a conversation where the story of Atlantis is told, passed down through generations from an Egyptian priest to the Athenian statesman Solon. This wasn't just a casual mention. Plato gave us a detailed, vivid picture of a lost world. According to Plato, Atlantis was an island continent located beyond the Pillars of Hercules, which is what we now call the Strait of Gibraltar. This places it out in the Atlantic Ocean. He described it as an empire of incredible power and wealth. The geography was stunning, a series of concentric rings of land and water, connected by massive canals and bridges, all surrounding a central island. Imagine a perfectly engineered city, a circular marvel of architecture and design, something out of a futuristic dream. The capital city itself was a wonder. The outer wall was coated in brass, the middle in tin, and the inner wall, which surrounded the citadel, flashed with the red light of orichalcum. Orichalcum was a mysterious metal, described as second only to gold in value. The city had grand temples, palaces, and bustling harbors. The fields were incredibly fertile, yielding 2 harvests a year, and the island was home to all sorts of animals, including elephants. This wasn't just a city. It was a paradise, a testament to what humans could achieve. The Atlanteans were more than just master builders. Plato describes them as a highly advanced civilization. They were descended from Poseidon, the god of the sea, and a mortal woman named Cleito. For generations they lived in harmony and virtue. They were wise, just, and placed less importance on material wealth than on their own character. They had a sophisticated legal system, a powerful military with a navy of 1,200 ships and an army of chariots, and they ruled over parts of Europe and Africa. For a time, they were the model of a perfect society. But perfection, it seems, rarely lasts. According to Plato's tale, as the generations passed, the divine blood within the Atlanteans became diluted. They began to change. Their noble character faded, replaced by greed, ambition, and an insatiable desire for power. They became arrogant, believing themselves to be above the gods. Plato writes that they were filled with unrighteous avarice and power. They launched an unprovoked attack, seeking to conquer Athens and the rest of the known world. Their moral decay was complete. This hubris, this arrogance did not go unnoticed by the gods. Zeus, king of the gods, saw their corruption and decided that this once great civilization needed to be punished. The end was swift and catastrophic. Plato gives us a chillingly simple description. There occurred violent earthquakes and floods. And in a single day and night of misfortune, the island of Atlantis disappeared in the depths of the sea. In just 24 hours, the entire continent, with all its splendor and all its people, was gone, swallowed by the waves, leaving nothing behind but a story. So, here's the billion-dollar question. If this incredible civilization existed, where is the evidence? This is where the mystery deepens. Despite centuries of searching, despite advances in oceanography and archaeology, we have never found a single, definitive piece of physical proof. No underwater ruins in the Atlantic, no unique pottery, no inscriptions mentioning Atlantis outside of Plato's work. For mainstream historians and archaeologists, this lack of evidence is the final word. To them, Atlantis is a philosophical myth, not a historical fact. Plato was a philosopher, not a historian. Many scholars believe he invented Atlantis as a cautionary tale, a thought experiment. He might have created it to illustrate his ideas about the ideal state, using the perfect, virtuous ancient Athens as a contrast to the corrupt and decadent Atlantis. The story serves as a powerful allegory. Even the most powerful civilization can be brought down by its own moral failings. It's a lesson about the dangers of pride, greed, and imperialism. But that hasn't stopped people from looking. The theories about where Atlantis might have been are endless. Some believe Plato's account was based on a real event that got distorted over time. One popular theory connects Atlantis to the Minoan civilization on the island of Crete. Around 1600 BC, the nearby volcanic island of Thera, now Santorini, erupted in one of the largest volcanic explosions in human history. The eruption created massive tsunamis that devastated the Minoan coast, potentially leading to the collapse of their civilization. The parallels are striking: a powerful maritime culture, sudden destruction by a natural disaster. Could this have been the real event that inspired Plato's story? Other theories place Atlantis all over the globe. Some have suggested it was in the Caribbean, near the Bimini Road, an underwater rock formation some believe is man-made. Others point to Antarctica, suggesting the continent was once ice-free. There are theories linking it to Spain, Ireland, or even South America. Each theory has its passionate supporters, but all of them lack the concrete evidence needed to convince the scientific community. The search for Atlantis has become a modern-day quest for the Holy Grail. So, what are we left with? Is Atlantis a lost chapter of human history, a real place waiting to be rediscovered? Or is it one of the most brilliant and enduring works of fiction ever created? Perhaps the real power of Atlantis isn't whether it was a physical place, but what it represents. It's a mirror held up to our own civilization. It's a story about the fragile balance between progress and wisdom, power and humility. In a world facing its own challenges, from climate change to political tensions, Plato as a warning feels more relevant than ever. The story of Atlantis asks us to consider our own path. Are we building a society that will last, or are we too becoming filled with unrighteous avarice and power, risking a similar fall from grace? Maybe the real treasure of Atlantis isn't a sunken city of gold and orichalcum. Maybe the treasure is the lesson itself. The search for Atlantis is ultimately a search for ourselves, for our origins, our potential, and the wisdom to avoid the same fate. The legend lives on, not just in the depths of the ocean, but in our collective imagination, forever reminding us of what we can achieve and what we stand to lose. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey into the depths of history and myth. What do you think? Was Atlantis real, or is it the world's greatest cautionary tale? Let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this exploration, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next dive into the unknown. See you next time.